Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. Today I'm going to be doing a review on this Lyman powder measure. Now I haven't been reloading in a real long time, but I know quality when I see it, and I know junk when I see it. And the one that came with my Lee reloading kit is complete garbage compared to this one. This is only $61 on Amazon, and as I think you'll agree, this is an amazing deal. So let's get into it. Alright, so this is the Lee powder measure that came with my Lee reloading kit. There's some things that are real disadvantages to this. Number one is by the time you get this thing tight enough so that it won't leak ball powder being like accurate number 2, out the side of it and waste a bunch of powder, you can hardly turn it. You're like every time, right? And the other thing is it doesn't have an opening on the top, so you can't take a test measurement and dump it back in the top. It's just, so then you have to leave your powder open to dump it back in here, but then you run the risk of knocking this over and spilling your powder all over the workbench. So this is the Lyman powder measure that I bought for $61. This is really nice. It has this little metal thing in here. This is a good hard acrylic, not soft cheapy stuff. And this is all 100% metal, right? This is metal. So let me show you how this thing works. So the first thing is, this is just a really great little powder measure. Let me find an empty casing that I got here that we can use to do some test filling. And so you can just take this plastic cap off the top, like so, and then you can do a test drop on it. So we come down here and we, alright, and then we take it and we dump it back in the top. So we can do this, you know, and you can take a test measurement, you can weigh it, and then you can dump it back in the top. That's really nice. And you know, this is your adjustment for how little powder you're going to throw. And it's just really moves easy. Just that easy. I mean, nice and easy. The other thing that I like about this is that this screws into a standard press spot. Now they do make a mount for this guy that's especially for it, and it's like $25. I didn't get that. I just took the bolt out on my spare press over here and I just put it in there. But you know, if you don't have a spare press, you might want to get the mount for $25 for this. But this thing is hefty. It's got some real weight to it. It has 2 dies. It has this is the smaller one, but they have a bigger one that comes with it as well, right? For reloading larger shells, you know, larger casings. I just used the small one because I'm only doing handgun rounds. And the only thing I'll say is that when they ship this, they do have a coating of oil all over it. So what I did was I took it all apart, and it's not hard to take apart, and I just cleaned everything. I just dumped rubbing alcohol on everything, cleaned it out, blew it out with some air really good, let it dry, and it was 100% good after that. And I really like this. It's very consistent. Once you get it set, it stays there. I checked it after doing 100 rounds the other night, and by the 100th of a gram, it varied, or by the 100th of a grain, it varied just the tiniest bit. But not enough to be at all concerned. You know, if you're going to be riding them right on the ragged edge, then you want to get a trickler and bring them home that way. But, you know, if you're just reloading mid-range rounds, you're not going to have any problems. This part's metal, this casing's metal, this is good and sturdy. This is, you know, like a good acrylic. It might be polycarbonate. I don't know. I think it's acrylic. And you just got this to adjust it. It works incredibly well. I would say for $61 you can't beat this powder measure. Unlike the Lee's powder measure that I have over here. The Lee's powder measure is mostly made out of plastic, and it does work. It gets the job done. And with extruded powders, like the flat disc powders and stuff, it's not going to leak. With the small fine ball grain powders, it leaks. I will say that it is very consistent. Once you set it, it stays dead on forever. But, you know, not being able to dump back in the top is kind of a big annoyance. Big annoyance. And the other thing is you have to take this off to empty it. And if you forget to close this and you pull it off, then you spill powder everywhere. Because you can't just take it off of the stand and empty it out the normal way. So that's kind of annoying as well. And it's just, you can tell it's not made nearly as well. I'll still keep this powder measure, and I'll probably use it when I do extruded powders, because sometimes you have your main powder set up in one powder measure, and then you just want to clean this out and run some other kind of powder in this temporarily, you know, that's an extruded or a flat disc or a flake powder that won't leak. It'll be fine for that. But I tell you, if you get the Lee's reloading kit and you're just not happy with the powder measure, try this Lyman. This again is the Lyman Brass Smith. I will put a link to it down below. It's made in the USA. It's well made. It's sturdy. The only downside is neither of those dies that you drop with are compatible with the powder through die for Lee's. So if you're doing powder through, you might need a different adapter or a different powder measure. But, you know, if you're not doing powder through filling, then I would say this little sucker is the way to go. It's a really good product for the money. I'm very happy with it. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.